and gentlemen, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Sports Lovers, where we talk everything relating to sports. The MLB playoff race is heating up. Less than 3 weeks to go in the MLB regular season, ladies and gentlemen. We are coming down the wire, especially in the American League and the National League, where those last playoff spots are up for grabs. We'll talk about that in future videos, so stay tuned for that. Also, last night's game between the Packers and the Commanders was a banger. Jaden Daniels did try to tie the game up there at the end of the game. Failed as the Packers get the job done, and I start out the week 1-0 on predictions. Now, with that being said, you already know what we're going to do in today's video, or in the second video of the day. We are going to be predicting the SEC games this weekend. So hit that sub button, leave a comment down below so you don't miss out on any of the latest videos. Next video will be AHSA predictions. And then, of course, we will have our, of course, Vanderbilt Dynasty for you guys. So stay tuned for that. Hit that sub button, leave a comment down below so you don't miss out on any of the latest videos. And without further ado, let us go ahead and hop right into these SEC Week number 3 predictions. Alright, so kicking us off here in the 11 a.m. slot on ESPN2, we got Oklahoma versus Temple. Oklahoma getting the job done, showing why they are going to be a threat in the SEC this past weekend against Michigan. They walk into Temple and are looking to beat them. I don't know who scheduled this game and why an SEC school is going into Temple, but hey, it is what it is. John Mateer and company should be able to get the job done. I mean, guys, John Mateer threw for a bunch of touchdowns last week and the week before. No reason he should not do it against this Temple team that is struggling. So give me Oklahoma, as they will win on the road at Temple in that matchup. Another 11 a.m. start time game is Wisconsin going into Alabama. This one's been circled on Alabama fans' calendar for a couple of months now, heading up into the offseason, because if Bama did eventually lose to Florida State, well, maybe they could potentially lose to Wisconsin, right? They struggled with them a little bit in the first half on the road last year. I expect it to be a completely different game, though. Them destroying ULM the week before this past weekend does show why they are, of course, still going to be a little bit of a threat here in the SEC, and why they are going to beat this Wisconsin team. Ryan Williams should be back this week. Ty Simpson should be good to go. I think that Ty Simpson looks as a really good game this weekend and gets the job done for the Alabama Crimson Tide. I hate to say it, but I think that that is what's going to happen here, as Alabama will get the win at home in this one. Next game up is the game that I will be going to. I will be attending this weekend is South Alabama going into Auburn, an 11:45 start time on SEC Network. Don't know why these games are, of course, like that, but hey, it is what it is. Davenport, 4 touchdowns for South Alabama. I'm looking at South to utilize Davenport a lot. We haven't talked about South Alabama here on the channel at all, but they have some really good weapons out there, and I think that they are going to scare this Auburn team a little bit. I think Auburn's going to be a little bit of slow to get going, especially in a wideout. They're going to be a little nervous. However, I think Jackson Arnold, once he gets things going, will turn on the Jets, and they should be able to get the job done against South Alabama, as Auburn will improve to 3-0 on the year before heading into conference play at Oklahoma. Look to contain Davenport, though. He can take off. He's not as mobile as a running back, though, as Gio Lopez was last year with South Alabama, but he can take off when he needs to. He has a great deep ball, so you're going to have to cover the receivers like you're supposed to. But if you do your job, you should be able to get the job done at home against South. All right, moving on to our next game here in the SEC slate. It is, of course, Louisiana going into Missouri. Missouri pulling off their great win over Kansas this past weekend. That was a really fun matchup. Interested to see, though, how they can move forward and move on to Louisiana, right? If that is going to have any effect on how this Missouri team plays right now, because they are in the top 25 right now. If they get a win, they can definitely see them moving up a couple of spots in that top 25. If they lose, they drop out, and they're probably eliminated from the college football playoff. So Missouri got to get a win here if you're the Missouri Tigers after a huge win against your rival Kansas. I think Louisiana does. I think they have by far the better roster. Pabula, the Missouri quarterback, has thrown for 6 touchdowns on the year so far. I'm expecting a big game for him, as the Missouri Tigers will get the job done at home against Louisiana. Moving on to the next game here, we will talk about Georgia, Tennessee in a second. We're just going to go ahead and get this one out the way, though. It's UTEP going into Texas. UTEP gave A&M a run for their money in week number 1. So I'm very interested to see if they can give Texas a run for their money with Arch struggling as well. This is going to be a very interesting game to follow on Saturday night, or Saturday afternoon rather, because Arch Manning has been limping. We've seen him on and off the field and stuff like that. I'm expecting Texas to win. I expect Arch to ball out, do his thing. They should be able to get the job done at home against UTEP in that matchup. Moving on to the game of the weekend, the college game of the weekend, where game day is going to be. This is going to be a fun one. Georgia going into Tennessee. Tennessee getting the job done. They are 2-0. So is Georgia. They are 2-0. However, Gunnar Stockton and the Georgia Bulldogs did struggle against Austin, PA. I know that they moved the game time the day of the game, so that probably has a little bit to do with it. And the weather delay in that matchup did cause a little bit of stuff. But Austin, PA is Austin, PA. Georgia should handle that with ease, and they struggled in that matchup. So, again, I think I'm going to go with Tennessee here. I'm going with Tennessee at home. Joey Aguilar looks to be really good for this Tennessee football squad, getting the ball to his playmakers in that first game against Syracuse. The second game was, well, the second game, but they still got the job done. And I think that Tennessee will upset the Georgia Bulldogs in week number 3 of the college football season to kick off their SEC 2025 slate. The Tennessee Vols will get the win at home against the Georgia Bulldogs. Moving on to the next game is Alcorn State versus Mississippi State. I could totally see Mississippi State losing this game after them beating top 25 ranked Arizona State this past weekend. However, I'm not going to go with that. I'm going to go with Mississippi State and Blake Shapen to start out the year 3-0. Jeff Levy's got that group fired up right now, expecting some big things out of the Bulldogs in that game from their offense. They should be able to get the job done at home against Alcorn State. Another SEC matchup here this week. There are a couple really good SEC matchups this week, but this one in particular has my eye. Arkansas going into Ole Miss. Ole Miss is 2-0 on the year. So is Arkansas. Sam Pittman has his job for now. We shall see, though, if that changes after this week, right? I think Arkansas walks into Ole Miss, walks into Oxford, and beat them. I think the inexperience with Simmons at quarterback for the Rebels is where it's going to get them. I think that, of course, Lacey, the running back for Ole Miss as well, is going to be a problem for the Arkansas defense. But I think that the offense for Arkansas is going to shock a lot of people this weekend. I'm picking the Razorbacks on the road in Oxford to get the job done in that matchup. Another absolute banger of a game this weekend, Texas A&M going into Notre Dame. There are some absolute heat games that are happening this weekend, this being one of them. Notre Dame has to get this win. This is a must-win game for the Fighting Irish because you cannot lose to your 2 highest rating opponents that you are going to play all season and just go 1-2 in your non-conference slate 3 games, right? In order to make the college football playoff. Because they're not in a conference, that's just kind of the situation that they are in, where they have to win this game against Texas A&M. And it being at home is going to help out a lot. However, I like Mike Elko. I like Marcel Reed. I think Texas A&M is going to shock a lot of people this game, and they are going to get the win on the road at Notre Dame. They will come out on top. Eastern Michigan at Kentucky. Give me Kentucky. Zach Calzada is not going to start this week. Kentucky has already confirmed that. But I do think they should be able to get the job done. And closing us out, of course, 2 more games to talk about, rather. The first one going to be LSU hosting Florida. This is going to be another banger of a game. I talked to one of my buddies. He's actually going to this game, which that's going to be a really fun time. SEC Nation's going to be there that morning. So, again, lots of stuff happening in Death Valley that week. Florida, 1-1, coming off of the loss to USF. That is everybody's topic right now. LSU, 2-0. They are rolling. Garrett Nussmeier's looking like he's going to win the Heisman Trophy. I think LSU wins this game because of the offense. I think the offense, Caden Durham, obviously is going to be a big part of that. Anderson, the wide receiver, is also going to be a big part of that offense as well. The Florida defense did look iffy against USF, which is why I'm going to be going with LSU to get the win in their home opener, or in their SEC home opener against rival Florida Gators. Give me the Tigers, as they will get the job done. And then last but certainly not least, this game has question marks circled all around it. Vanderbilt going into South Carolina. South Carolina, a 3.5 favorite. I don't know if you guys have seen this, but Diego Pavia has been talking a lot of shit recently to South Carolina. Let's just put it plain and simple where it is. They have been talking a lot of crap at South Carolina. I think that he is going to be able to back that up. However, I think Lenore Sellers is just too good for their defense to contain him. I think Lenore Sellers is the reason why South Carolina will win this game. 3.5 favorite. Take the under on it. Gonna be a banger to close us out on Saturday night, but South Carolina will get the job done. However, let me know what you thought of the video in the comments down below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, turn that bell on, as we do our best to post on this channel every single day. I'm going to hop off, get this edited so you guys can watch it on time. Thank you all so much for watching this one. I will see you in the next video, which is going to be AHSAA week number 4 predictions, because we are so late getting those out. And then we will play our Vanderbilt Dynasty. So 4 videos today to close out the week. Let me know what you think of all of them whenever you watch them in the comments down below. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.